in terms of the animal shelter, it didn't just start, it's been in operation. For those of you that, like I said, live in the city, you've got to understand, we've got to do something with the animals. That's just
We currently have 6, 8 animals out there currently that we're having to operate without a budget. We're having to assume those costs ourselves. Our own employees are just volunteering their time in the evenings and the afternoons to go out there and feed these animals. We have no budget for them, and we have a significant problem. We have an animal shelter control officer with no budgeted animal shelter.
Nowhere.
And so it's just, we're asking for problem. If we want to do that, then we need to remove the animal control officer and just get out of the animal control business if that's not the direction we're going. That is the direction initially that council was directing, and we were slowly getting there, and so we bought the facility without having to build a new one. We're currently doing renovations in it. We just finished the painting. We're doing the flooring and the light, the ceilings and stuff, and so we have the funds to finish it and get it operational. If council wants to do that. If not, we just need to.
So we just, that's what I'm saying. So is there a problem with us addressing it on next year?
For a whole year of no answer.
Yes, sir.
What do we do for the next year?
I mean, in between. Okay. You can tell the animals.
Mayor, Council, if I could add something about the shelter. I know money is a concern, but I think this city not having a shelter or somewhere to take these animals is going to become much worse on the city than what it already is. As the mayor said, anybody that walks around the streets, there's hundreds of dogs, cats that have just tripled and multiplied over the last probably 3 years since we started talking about this, and it's only going to get worse. The dogs that Mr. Angerstein mentioned that we have down there, the reason we've got them is because they've attacked 3 people. They're vicious dogs. They've attacked probation officers. They charged one of my officers, and they attacked a pizza delivery driver. When we went back to get them the 4th time, they tried to attack us again. This is going to continue, and it's only going to get worse till a child gets injured, one of our elderly residents. If we don't start doing something about this animal problem and getting them off the streets, my fear is it's going to come back on the city much worse than what it could, and the money that we're trying to put into this. And like Mr. Angerstein said, yes, we have an animal control officer, but when he responds right now, he can't pick those animals up, because once he picks them up, they belong to the city of Crockett. We don't have anywhere to house them. The vets won't take them because they're overrun with animals. So he's having to tell people, hey, I understand you've got wild dogs in your yard, and they're chasing your kids, or they're chasing your family. If I can't identify the owner, he has to go back and service, because there's nothing he can do. So I think it's imperative that we do what we can to open this shelter for the safety of the community. If we continue allowing these animals to roam the streets and not doing something with them, I see it turning out extremely bad for the city.
This woman with it though. If we got the facility, why we can't just work with what we got right now until we can get some more income into, why we just got to go spend money that we really ain't got to use, I mean, it makes common sense. You just work with what you got. We got the facilities, got some cages,
So, electricity and water.
Some of that we don't dictate. Some of that the state dictates to us as to requirements, what has to be done. I think overall the shelter itself is in good shape to start housing animals. But there are some minor things that have to be done for the state to say yes.
So do we got to spend all of this, or can we cut it down a little bit?
Sure.
Maybe,
I mean, you could compromise on it, but you just get what you can afford.
Right. That's all I'm saying, man.
That's what he was saying, but it won't come from him. But it's in the budget. What we have to decide on what can be afforded, or do we just? The concern is it's been a lot of money and stuff put into getting the animal shelter and getting it to the point where it's functional. you may not be able to do. And right now, this is projected to do piece by piece so that it's meeting state regulation, so that it's meeting community needs. Because one of the things that we do forget, dogs and cats not the only thing they picking up. People call them for skunks. They call them for all kinds of critters. Horses.
We keep doing all this. You're gonna keep raising people taxes, man. That's crazy. That's
even if you don't raise people, you still.
Some people out here got it. Some people got money. You know,
nobody has
everybody don't got money like that.
Everybody has
water taxes.
No, we're not talking
all
about
these taxes, man. Everybody ain't got it like that.
See,
I understand the concerns.
But it's.
That's all I'm saying. You got to think about everybody, man.
so Chief,
I think once we get it started, I think as time goes, we'll see those numbers shrink. Because we'll
It's a
figure
startup.
out what works
so
and what doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. We can spend a little bit to get it started and keep going, you know, working until we get where we going, man. Don't just keep raising people taxes, man.
Okay.
So
No.
Chief, that's where I was at with saying that, that's why I was at with saying about looking at it at next year's budget. Because by that time, then Houston County will be able to give us some numbers. And we will be able to put some numbers together. And then once we get those numbers together, then we can move forward with what we need to do. But right now, we don't know where they're gonna meet us at. We don't know, if we don't have all the, we don't have all the information of,
I think to get accurate
cost.
numbers, we'll have to base that off of animals that are taken into the shelter. We can get numbers based off of animal calls that Mr. Harris goes to, different situations, but to get a breakdown of the cost, of what it's gonna cost to run that shelter, I think we're gonna have to start somewhere and kind of get an idea of what that cost is. Because the truth is, I don't know, I've never run a shelter, this is all new to me. I just see the issues that our city's having right now with being overrun with animals.
right. Well, that's the whole issue. It's like, I'm just looking at the overall cost. Because this is not anything that's gonna bring us any revenue. We're gonna be pouring and not receiving anything back. So,
and some of those costs, if people want to bring animals in, if they don't have anywhere for them, they'll have to pay the city to drop that animal off, or I say the city, the shelter, to render services to that animal, to try to have that animal adopted out to another foster facility or adoption facility outside the city. So there are some costs associated with being able to do that wouldn't all come back on the city. And I think the city has the ability to, at some point, if they have to, say, hey, we're closed. We can't take any more animals in at this point until we get rid of some or until the next budget cycle starts. I think that's kind of what I mean when I say give and take and try to understand what the best ways to run the shelter, because I think we're going into it somewhat in the dark.
so that's exactly my point, is if we get more information and then we get our numbers together, then it shouldn't be an issue, being that none of us have ran a shelter and don't know much about it. Another thing too is if we're gonna look at the shelter as being just a adoption shelter, in other words, a kill or no kill shelter. You have a lot of people that's concerned about if the shelter's gonna be a kill or no kill. If you only have 8 cages to hold 8 dogs and you get a whole lot more, then what are you gonna do with those 8 dogs? You know, so, and you don't have anyone that wants to adopt an old dog.
But just like a lot of other people, I love animals, but I understand the reality of it is a no-kill shelter is very difficult in a situation like what we're faced with right now. I think having the outlets to move these animals out of the city to other adoption facilities or other foster homes, I think that's the key. And having somebody in that position that can help manage that and make that a smooth transition will help those issues out a whole lot.
Having a veterinarian already willing to work into contract with us is invaluable as well, that we may not have in future years.
So-
If we don't start.
I can say this, I noticed, I can say that the numbers of animals and the numbers of dogs running in packs have greatly increased over the last 6 months. And I think that's gonna continue to increase because we're gonna see an influx of, people dropping their dogs off that may live out in the county, they may bring them
They
to the
always
city.
do.
The dogs are reproducing, the cats are reproducing. It's not a problem, it's gonna fix itself. Until we do something about it or help do something, I don't see the problem getting better.
So would you say that we go into this project blind? Or do you say we do research, we bring it back to the table?
We're not blind.
They've been researching for.
We've been working on this for several years.
Yeah, but what I'm
3 years.
What I'm
It's not
understanding
blind.
is that
No.
we've never had experience in
And we never
running.
will.
But have you, so you've already visited shelters already?
Yes, ma'am.
We did a whole year and a
We've
half.
talked to Jacksonville, we've talked to Lufkin. A lot of them will tell you that I can't give you a legitimate cost breakdown because they've been in operation a lot longer than we have. The most consistent thing I heard is the first year or so, it's all gonna be new. You're gonna learn, you're gonna have to give and take, you're gonna have to figure out what works for your city, because every city is different. What works for us may not work for Brakeland or vice versa. So, yes, I say lightly, go into it blind, but with the understanding of we have a certain budget in mind, and what that number is, we have to work within that budget. And if we stay under that budget, then we know the first year that, okay, we can do it for this amount. If we shoot over that budget, then we understand we've got to make some adjustments. But I think the key to it is developing the contact and the relationship with the vet that's there and pushing those animals out to other shelters and other facilities and get them out of our city.
Well, I personally, I would like to, and I think I expressed this to John, I would like to have a visit with a shelter. I would like to also speak with the vet as well and see what other options, what other problems that could possibly occur in having a shelter come in like that. So that's why I really was concerned about, because I asked him before about visiting a shelter. That's why I was stating that we could possibly wait because of the fact of the tax rate increase, and then that'll give us time to do the research and for the council to better understand, because a lot of the information that we're receiving here recently from John is like we're getting 72 hours. And so 72 hours is not enough time for me to research and understand, what's going on. So
His
we
budget's
need,
been
Just
out
a
for
net,
weeks.
I mean,
They've been out
this
for
has
weeks.
been for months
Yeah.
that they've been looking
This
at it.
is-
And it hasn't just been John, it's everybody's been visiting.
Well, I mean,
And
I
even
was just
it's over a
elected in
year
May.
plus.
Yeah.
That when 2 years almost, when they introduced it from the time that we secured the building, from the time that we've done, it's always been a working plan. It's not like, bam, this is gonna happen. This has been a work in progress. With all the visitation, all the recommendation, we're just at the end of the recommendation about to open it up.
Okay.
Well, I
in
know the
terms
little
of-
girl that got attacked the other night, she got hurt.
It's several people have.
She
Like
got
I said,
hurt
they're in my
bad.
yard all the time.
So-
Serious bodily injury,
Yes.
one of her nails was broken.
But anyway,
I think had she not been able to protect her neck, I think we'd be dealing with a lot different situation than just a broken arm.
We can just.